Legendary Impact Live, where top marketing minds and local business owners across the U.S. share their stories and strategies for attracting high-value consumers. Ready to have the spotlight on your brand? Here's your host, Meg. Let's dive in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the latest episode of Legendary Impact Live.
Yeah.
Is there a technical difficulty?
Okay. Something's not right.
You'll see
You
a
seem
little.
to be muted.
Well, you're not going to hear it on there. Here in the studio.
All right, hold on.
Stay on page. We love these technical difficulties.
Such is life in our world.
There we go.
Okay.
All right.
So
Now we're back over here.
But
Excellent.
it says muted on my tab.
Unmute tab.
Is that better?
Can you hear us
I can
now?
hear you just fine.
Oh,
Okay,
now
yay.
we're live. Now we're live. We did it.
I love it. You can't go wrong with live, you know? It's like
Right.
behind the scenes access.
No pressure. No pressure.
I'd never
No
had
pressure.
it said muted on the tab for some reason, which I've never had.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's probably just a browser thing. But anyway,
Yes.
welcome to the Legendary Impact Live podcast. I've got Harry and Nicole Hansen of the Riveting Experience, which I had the pleasure of visiting in Salida when my good buddy Cassie and her bride tribe came.
Try.
It was quite the drive.
Yeah, we had such a good time. So nestled right in downtown Salida is this wonderful shop that you have, the Riveting Experience. And what's amazing is you get to go in and you could purchase jewelry, but you can also make your own. And you guys had such an amazing experience for us. I mean, we got charcuterie, we got beverages,
Wine and
beautiful. Yes, beautiful jewelry. I love my jewelry piece. I did a necklace and it was so fun. You showed me how to hammer the, I think I did copper. We hammered it and then, attached all the pieces. It's just so beautiful. And you have such great, works of art really there. And so, yeah, share a little bit with our audience about, the shop and, your experience and kind of what led you to be able to offer this.
Well, first of all, I wanted to say that today we posted your piece on our Instagram and Facebook pages, so you should see that there today. You guys did some beautiful work. It's really lovely. So we are lifetime metalsmiths. Harry's family all came from welders, shipbuilders, so he's got that kind of large scale metal in his background. And my parents are both award-winning jewelers, and I grew up with a custom jewelry store attached to my home. So it's deeply ingrained in what we do. And when Harry and I met, we instantly knew that we had that metal connection. And so, over the years, we've always made things together. And eventually we came upon this idea that we wanted to share what we love doing and what's in our family roots with more people. And it took a little bit of time. It was to evolve into this concept. We started out making, doing wedding ring workshops with couples, and they would come to our full studio and we use power tools and torches, and it's a full day long thing and a big financial commitment. But people loved the symbolism of making their own rings and doing this together as a couple. And we started thinking about how do we do something that's a little less time commitment and
financial
commitment, but still that fun, that real sense of satisfaction, and to be able to make something that is custom to you. It's your taste, your style, but with our help and expertise, so that you don't have to know how to do it before you come in the door. We can walk you through the whole process.
And quality. I mean, we've always put a real big emphasis on providing quality materials. The weight of the metal, the quality of the metal, all of those things are super important to us. It's like we want you to walk out and tell everybody and show everybody what you made.
These,
you know,
right?
it's like we haven't succeeded if you're not out there going, I made these.
Right.
You know, and that's kind of always been the goal. Is it needs to be quality, and it needs to be well executed, and that's part of our job is to help you execute that well.
Yeah.
You know?
And at the same time, you get to control your budget, right?
Yeah,
So, you know, we have solid gold pieces, we have gold fill, we have sterling silver, and we have copper. And, you know, your copper options are going to be the least expensive. So you don't necessarily have to, you know, be new and say, oh, I don't know if I want to commit to a, you know, a $300 piece or a $400 piece in solid gold. But, you know, if it's $20 in copper, then it's an easy commitment, and people tend to get their feet wet and then come back and be like, oh, well, last time I did the copper and it came out so cool, I'm going to this time do, you know, a more expensive piece, or make something for a family member that you get to really put your heart and soul into it. We give you a little card that says, from my hands to yours, I made this thinking of you. So you can share that experience with the people around you.
Yeah,
I love it. And I'm like super process oriented. So I really enjoyed seeing how your process is laid out. I mean, it was a well-oiled machine. You had, you know, all the jewelry ideas, right? The inspiration, which people could purchase as well if they just wanted one of your pieces. And then, you know, we came through the process of picking our materials with your guidance about cost, etc. And then we got all of our materials and went over to our little spot, and then we're guided through the process of producing the piece. And just that whole, the way you know, laid out that whole process, I enjoyed just seeing it, because there's a lot of thought that goes into making that experience seamless for the guests.
We really, we spent a lot of time thinking about what's the flow of the space and, you know, and how we lay things out so that people do move, and we chunk it down a little bit, because there are so many options to customize things, that to be able to help people narrow things down so they know, you know, that you don't have to have, you know, 6,000 choices on each item.
It can be overwhelming sometimes, and it's been a process for us as we've gone through this. We celebrated 5 years in October that we've been in business, and it's been a very deliberate process from day one, seeing how people interact with the space and the samples and the materials that they have to choose from, and kind of tailoring our language and our approach, and learning how to do that so that people can make those choices and not get completely overwhelmed, because it can happen. And that's been part of the fun of it, is figuring out how to design this in such a way that it's attainable and that people can grasp the concept fairly quickly. And it's like language plays a big part of that. How we present it plays a big part. It's been cool.
Yeah. It was neat to learn little things that you don't think about with jewelry. Like, there was one moment where we needed, for someone's earrings, I think it might've been Cassie's, we needed like an extra bead or loop so that they face this way instead of this way. So it was just like these little, you know, nuances that as a jewelry wearer, right, you don't necessarily think about, but it orients the piece differently. So it was interesting to see that and the process behind it. And I loved in the story I read from the website about how the Sundance catalog was part of the impetus of you working together. I used to love that catalog. And now in retrospect, the piece that I made and the jewelry that I saw, on the wall does remind me of the
Yep.
Sundance catalog. And I also loved all the jewelry in that catalog. I mean, that was one of my favorite things in the mail, just to look at the jewelry. But anyway, there's definitely a similarity between
there is an
pieces.
Interestingly enough, we didn't actually make jewelry for the Sundance catalog. What we made were candlesticks.
Yeah.
So neat. And you do other things too. Yeah. So talk a little bit about that. Like, obviously for the riveting experience, it's about the experience of coming in and designing your jewelry and all of that. But you two have a lot of other things in your repertoire.
We do. To live in Salida, you often have to have multiple things going on at the same time. So over the years, we have we've done a number of different things. So one of them is a line that we have called Sterling and Steel, and we still do our wedding ring workshops through Sterling and Steel, and it is a collaboration between Harry and I. He does blacksmithing and I do silversmithing, and we make flatware and candlesticks and some jewelry that is that rustic and shiny and kind of I lost my word.
You lost your word?
It's a combination of two materials together, and that gives it those opposing forces that we really enjoy.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go check out the flatware. That's very interesting.
Yes. You see very little handmade flatware these days, and it feels good in the hand, and we spend a lot of time with balance and as well as aesthetic in designing those pieces.
Before we started riveting, we were pretty much full-time in that for about 7 years. We'd make it and we'd go coast to coast at high-end art festivals, New York to San Francisco and everywhere in between. It was a lot. It was not.
It was fun. It was a very long road trip.
Before we started that, Nicole had mentioned, she's like, "Gosh, I wish we could get out and travel more."
Right, our kids were little,
and
Harry was working 120 hours a week, and we were home all the time. I was like, I want a road trip, and then we started doing the art festivals, and
it was a nonstop road trip for 7 years,
17 weeks a year. Thousands of miles. It was like, okay, be careful what you ask for.
Right. Our last year, on the road, we did 50,000 miles in 1 year traveling.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Well, you get to see so much other neat artists and, things they're doing. Like that would be, I think, and you might even be on the road with the same people, right?
Always. Yeah, the way art festivals work, it's like you all end up getting juried into the same art festival. So it was like this kind of carny roadshow. We'd all show up at the same festivals. We'd be doing our tent setup. We'd go out to dinner together. We'd be working on sales together. It was like, it was a lot of fun. And
that's
exhausting.
Cool community.
I
love that.
It's a very creative community, and it's and you do tend to see the same caliber of work at different shows, so you see the same group of people.
That's amazing. So lifelong friendships, I'm sure, were forged.
Yes. Very good.
Nice. We actually call
go ahead.
Workshop, the Forging the Bond workshop.
Yes.
When couples come
to awesome.
Forging your bond.
Yes.
Love it. That's so cool. So do you still go to any shows now? I mean, you're really in Salida at this shop most of the time. So we feel pretty fortunate in that we brainstormed this idea in April of 2019. And so we did 2 more shows after we came up with the idea, and then opened the store, and then COVID hit. And so many of our artist friends that were still doing shows, they lost all their booth fees and their registration fees, and everything shut down. And we had not
we hadn't applied for any shows. We were just going to
Kind of
full on
all
do
in
this.
on this, and that was, I mean, the timing was, it was good and bad. You know, we put everything we had into getting the store opened, and we opened September 28th of 2019. So there wasn't a lot of time there before the world fell apart.
Right.
but
5 months.
Yeah.
5 months. Yeah. But we made it through, you know, and it was a lot of work and a lot of, just, it was just hard, but we got it.
Yeah. And now we're back. We've got a
We've
great
got a
team
great
right
team
now.
of people that work for us.
We've moved into a larger space than what we started in. And we're just seeing more and more people. Word is starting to spread. And we just did a TV spot yesterday that'll air in Colorado Springs. And it's really starting to kind of feel like we're just on the cusp of setting on fire. So
I love it. Well, and you have some plans to grow, you know, and have more locations. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so our initial vision was how do we share our love of metalsmithing and what we do with a broader audience, and maybe be able to retire at some point. And so we thought, well, this is something that is repeatable. We can train people. We can open stores in other areas. And so right now our vision is that we'll open our next store will be in Golden. And, you know, we're not exactly sure of our timeline yet. We're still getting our processes really fleshed out with our training of our people is the biggest.
Because you need to be able to duplicate that efficiently. Yeah. So that's, I can totally see, you know, I have a whole process improvement background, and I can totally see all
right. Yes.
Well, we should talk sometime.
Right.
I used to run like a Six Sigma team. Like I have all that. And moved totally into a different industry.
Right.
Yeah. It's key to get the right people and get them trained properly. And be able to duplicate this. There's like a certain kind of sort of feel and approach and everything that, you know, it takes a little bit of practice to get it down. So
and our culture. And the culture is super important. That you know, when you come in here, that there isn't pressure that you have to you know, make something perfectly, or that there's judgment about how you're doing it, that we're really here to support you in the physical process. In, you know, sometimes it can be a little bit stressful for people that they come in and say, oh, I'm not creative. And
we're here to support you and your creativity, not to pass on our design.
Right. Or our judgment of your design. You know, there's whatever you make that's within your taste is beautiful, because it's your taste, and every individual has that shining beauty within. And so it's really our privilege to be able to support you in making something that you love.
And 100%. Yeah. You guys were so supportive, and definitely, you know, just, you were giving us like the tools and the instructions how to use them. And that was all very interesting. I mean, everybody, you know, could have an interest in that. Like, how is this made? Right. So that was very helpful. You were totally, I mean, we picked out our materials, the design, and then could change it. And the textures, that was so fun. And putting it through like whatever the thing is, the
rolling mill.
It's like magic.
It is like magic. I think that's the part where people go, oh, wow, when they do that.
It was so cool. Yeah. Cause you just picked like a design that was kind of a fabric-ish.
Some are fabric.
Some are fabric. We have a whole variety of different ways that you can put pattern or texture on the metal. And then we show you how to do that. And the other part of it is, if there's some part where you're like, oh my God, this is so tedious and not for me, and I am not having fun doing this, we are there to step in and do it for you. Or, you know, sometimes we'll get families in and we have older people that their eyesight isn't great anymore, or they've got a little bit of arthritis, and they don't have the dexterity to do the pliers.
There's no rule or expectation that you have to finish it yourself. It's like we will step in and help wherever that help is needed.
Wherever you want it to be, because it should be fun. And some people absolutely want total ownership, and they are going to do every single part of this themselves. And that's, and that's what gives them joy. And that's where we meet you. But, if you want to come in with, a grandparent or a toddler, we will calibrate it to whatever level of hand-eye coordination you have.
Yeah, we're planning to come back, Cassie and I, maybe in the spring. I've got 2 little girls. She has a little girl, they're friends, and so they're all very like creative and artsy, and so that'll be really fun.
It's cool to introduce the kids to it, because there's so many things in here that kids can actually do. And it's like jewelry making outside of like throwing some beads on a string is kind of like this sacred realm where only jewelers get to do it. And it's like introducing kids to that making process, punching holes and putting the pattern in metal. I mean, they light up when they roll their piece through the rolling mill.
Oh, I did. I mean, it's amazing.
Well, we're all a little bit of a kid at heart, I think.
Yeah. I could totally see. Yeah. Exposing kids to any kind of art, and, especially my 2, they're like super artistic. So they like just giving them that time with materials and tools, and it could change a life path,
Right.
That's really neat.
And it also just wires different parts of their brains together, right? That it's different neurons are fired than looking at a screen. It's kind of like reading a book, using your hands, using tools. There are so many kids that don't get an opportunity to use tools in their daily life, and seeing these mechanical processes are really fascinating. We see so many kids that come in and really do, it's like their attention is focused right in on what they're doing. We hardly have any kids that can't focus to do one of these projects.
Oh, yeah. And guess what they're not looking at? A screen.
Right. Yeah.
They're using their brains and their hands,
Exactly.
I just came up with an idea for you. I don't know if this is something that you'll ever be able to do, but like a mini kit with tools to create jewelry at home, because they have like little, bead jewelry kits like we were just talking about, and earring jewelry kits and stuff, but they're not the caliber of what you're doing. Like that could be a neat,
So those are at the front, right next to the cash register.
There's little mystery boxes. Yes, not with tools.
Not with the tools. We sell the tools individually because some people already have a pair of pliers and stuff like that. But we have little mystery boxes, and then if you need a pair of pliers, we have a pair of pliers to sell you. But they're already set up so you can do a variety of projects from one little box. So you could do earrings, you could do a necklace,
and they're themed. They're hearts or flowers or blue or in different.
I love it.
And then you
now,
just get a whole
can people buy those on your website, or do they have to get them in person?
We don't have those on the website yet. We have a kind of a limited amount on the website. It's one of those things one of those projects that's rolling around in our heads, and probably be a winter time to get a little bit more up there.
The website part and trying to go e-commerce with this has been kind of one of the big challenges, because it is so much about the experience. It's like what we're selling is less the jewelry and more the experience, in a sense. And we do sell online, but we have to keep those pretty limited, because
limited choices
because you cannot have all the choices in an online piece that you can in the store. It's just not going to work.
Oh yeah.
Right? I mean, you've been here, you know what it's like. So if we gave all those choices online, it would be it would just be chaos. So
and some of the logistics. Hi, Patrick. We're live. And some of the stones and things we don't have all the time. Because they are a lot of the natural stones, they change, and and we don't always have access to them. So
Yeah, I mean, our supplier sometimes last year I think it was, we called to get some things, and that was when Pakistan had flooded so badly. They had those massive floods, and the glacier dam broke, and anyway, in that process, the mine where some of the stones that we get was flooded. He's like, I won't have stones for months because they're pumping out the mine.
yeah.
So it's like there's a certain uncertainty in natural stones.
Yeah, and when we find something that's really beautiful, we buy as much as we can because
Right.
we don't know if we'll see it again.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. Yeah. That's an interesting component to the
Yeah.
whole process.
Yeah.
The supply chain and with natural
Yeah.
materials for sure. It's
Yeah.
unknown.
Yeah, and it's hard to plan for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this was really fun to share your story and the riveting experience. I'm obviously a fan.
Great. Well,
I'll be
we can't
back.
wait to see you again.
Yeah.
Yes. And to meet your kids. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. They're gonna love it. So tell everybody a little bit about any seasonal aspects to, anything that's coming up. I know it's, holidays, that sort of thing. And then also how to best interact with you and get in touch with you.
Okay. So we do Christmas stockings and ornaments in the holiday season. And we do a yearly Salida Christmas Mountain ornament, which is a big deal here in Salida. If you're a Salida community member, you'll know about Christmas Mountain. And we don't really have any other real Christmas items right now.
Not Christmas, but we do have the new aspen leaf pattern.
We do. We just did a fall aspen leaf pattern that's been really popular.
Cool.
And we do a biannual event called Repair, Repurpose, and Regift, which is a lot of fun. People bring in their broken jewelry, lost earrings, things they don't wear anymore, and we will help them incorporate those pieces in, reuse them, repair them, maybe make an asymmetrical mismatched earring or turn an earring into a pendant.
It's super fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Really
And then
cool. I have pieces I'm thinking of.
right?
Right. Everybody has that drawer.
Right. And
Yeah,
or you bring in jewelry that you've had and you're like, oh, I don't wear this anymore. And then you can swap with the other people at the event. And that's the regift part.
And then sometimes it's just a matter of, okay, so you've got this piece, you don't find it particularly interesting, but you're going to maybe roller print and emboss a piece of metal here, put it behind that piece, and you've completely reworked it into something really cool.
Yeah.
It's just like, there's just so many different ways that you can do it.
It's great if you bring your girlfriends and make that so you'll see that kind of thing announced on our website and our newsletter. You can, if you go to our website, which is rivetingexperiencejewelry.com, and there's a link to sign up for our newsletter, or you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Riveting Experience. And also see what other people have been making. We post photos of a lot of the projects that come through and tag the makers so they can share it with their friends, and you can show off a little bit what you've been up to.
Yeah.
And it's a cool way to see, because we have a wall with samples, as you saw, and that's kind of helps you get started with your project. But we have so many people come in, and once they've been on the Instagram page, like, oh, I saw this project and I want to do something in this similar vein.
Yeah.
And so it's really cool because it kind of creates this this kind of group design space on Instagram where people can see what everybody else is doing and be like, oh, that gives me an idea. I want to do this thing. So it's been a lot of fun to see that.
And I thought that people would do, the designs that I came up with on the wall, and that would be the limitation. And so much of the fun is to see really these beautiful, creative things that other people have come up with that that we are really inspired by and inspired to see, especially when somebody comes in and says, "Oh, I'm not creative," and they tend to make the pieces where you're like, "That
was
pretty
really
cool."
creative."
Yeah. Well, and you have hats as well. So you've got hats with plates kind of designed on them. And then
and belt buckles.
Yeah, belt
We've got
buckles,
really
and then you
cool
had
belt buckle projects.
Leather
like
bracelets and
leather
cuff
bracelets.
bracelets.
yeah.
Yep. Bookmarks,
lots of
wine
things.
tags, pet tags. We've done knitting tags. Or stitch markers. We've done knitting rings. I mean, people come in with all kinds of ideas of things. Could we make and we will brainstorm it with you and see, we can't do 100% of the thing because we have limited our tools. There's no power tools, no torches, because we're serving wine and beer if you want it. But yeah, we've done a lot
of things.
A lot of options.
Yeah, I love it. It's so fun. I know my brain is like, oh, all these things.
Right.
It's great to come in with your Christmas list.
Yeah.
And sit down and make things for people on your list.
Yeah.
Or we had one woman, she came in, she bought gift cards for all her family members, and then they came back as their Christmas activity, and all sat down as a family and made things. And that particular incident, they all made for her. She was like, "No, I want you to make for yourselves." And everybody made her.
She didn't know until the end. They all sat down as a family and they all made some really cool stuff. And at the end, everybody presented it to mom. It was like,
oh, sweet. Oh.
But yeah, the gift cards are a really fun thing because it's like you are gifting the experience. It's really cool to if somebody in your life is creative and you don't really know what to make them, but you would like them to have the experience. It's a perfect way to do it.
Yeah. And we're all about, I mean, everybody has too much stuff now, right? Like,
right. Yeah.
So yeah,
when you make something with your own hands, the value of that thing it's just exponentially more valuable when you've made it with your own hands and you walk out of here with it. It's like, it's not the same as buying it off a wall somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's just much more special.
Yeah.
So,
very cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate your time and I love what you're doing, and we'll continue and share stories.
Yeah. As we expand and we grow, I mean, it's like, we'll definitely stay in touch and hopefully soon we'll start making some serious plans to get up into Golden. That'll be exciting. It's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, we're excited. I want you to be closer. I'm going to have a habit.
Right?
Well, it's a healthy habit.
Right?
It's totally a healthy habit.
Yeah, totally. I think so. Love it. All right. Well, thanks again, you guys. And we'll have you back on again soon.
All right. We look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks for listening to Legendary Impact. If you're a marketing expert, brand power player, or local business owner ready to share your expertise, visit Local Legend Media's website and click the More tab at the top and then Podcast to get featured. Let's put your brand in the spotlight. See you next episode.